Hello there, how is everybody? In today's video, we are going to create this notes taking website. So basically what this website does, it takes a title and a notes is a good coder, let's see. And when you click on add, it just adds the note in the bottom. Let's add one more good student. Let's copy this so we don't have to again and again. Okay, Ali. So it's adding the notes, and when we try to delete this, the notes are getting deleted. Okay, this is a project. Here I have not worked too much on HTML and CSS, but the target is to touch JavaScript. Before starting this project, you should at least know about local storage and callbacks. I'm not saying that you have to be pro in those, but at least you should know what are those things, because when I will use them in my project, so you don't get confused what I'm doing. If you do know about them, then you can jump to the next chapter. If you don't worry, I'm telling you in like 3 to 4 minutes I explain them. So what is local storage? Local storage is a temporary place provided by the browser. Local storage is nothing but a temporary space or place provided by the browser. If you go to your project or a website, any website, and inspect that, in application tab from here, top menu, you can see there is an option of local storage, right? In the storage menu there is an option of local storage, and there is a file. This file is up here because I have just created it. If I go to the console and local storage dot clear, you can see that I have local storage and I've saved this in local storage. If I do local storage dot clear, what basically it does, it just clears that. And if I go from here, local storage is empty up right now. Okay, you can see select a value to preview, there is nothing here. But if I add here Rauf is a coder and I add that, you can see it's up here, right? You can see that this value is getting up here. If I again add something, Asad is a coder again, anything, it's getting added up here. Asad title and note is a coder. Okay, this is how local storage works. You can store something on the local storage. This is temporary. So why are we using even local storage? As you know that the servers are too costly, so we can't use those for our dummy projects. That's why I am using up local storage here to store my notes. Because to store something, you need a place, and the browser provide that place. That's why I'm using that space. Local storage can store only strings, and I will show you in 2 minutes. And local storage provides us two methods. The two important methods, it has more methods, but these are the two important which we will use more: set item and get item. Set item method is used to set the item to the local storage. Get item method is used to get that item from the local storage which we set it up. Let's test that. Go to console, local storage dot clear. If I do clear, then you can see and reload the website, there is nothing up here. This data was coming from local storage. Now local storage is empty, so there is nothing coming from here. So I am doing local storage dot set item. If I do set item and write here name and here my name, this is how you can set the item to the local storage. You have to give the key like an object. You can assume that it is setting to the JSON file. You have to key and you have to value. If I want to get this local storage dot get item, I just have to pass the key and it will give me the value as it gives in the JSON file. Now as I told you that local storage can only store strings, let's test that too. Local storage dot set item. If I say that number 456 and try to save that, it is still saved, but it is saved as a string. Okay, if I say type of local storage dot get item what num, then you can see that it is string. Okay, the number which we saved up here, the type of that number is string. So it is proved that everything stored in the local storage is a string. This is enough to start this project about the local storage. If you want to deep dive in the local storage, then you can on your wish, but I'm not making it up here. So what are callbacks? Callback is a function passed as an argument into an other function. Let me show you with an example. Let's say we have a function whose name is print name, and what it does, it prints console.log log my name into the console log. Now we have another function, but what this function does, it takes a parameter, like say we can say anything. Okay, and what it does, it calls that anything. It means this function is saying that the thing coming from here should be a function because I will call that later. And after that, it prints print all. So if we call this function print name, what it will does, it will print a name row from the screen. As you can see, it just printed. But if we call print all, is it going to do the same? No. First of all, it will not even run because it needs a parameter. If we pass a parameter like anything, it's again going to give you an error because it is requiring a function. So we have to pass a function into this. Let's just call that and pass this function as an argument into this function. Print name. Now this will run. What it will do, first of all, it will go up here, print all, go to, because we are calling up here, print all, and it will see anything is come from here, print name, anything is called, it will go here because we are passing that function. It will print the console on the row from the console, and then it will go here. After doing this work, it will come up here and just print all. That's it. So here, what is the callback function? This function callback or this function callback? Not even this and not even this, but this is a callback function. The function here is a callback function. The function coming from an argument or passing as an argument, this is a callback function, you can say, or this is a callback function, you can say. If you but you may notice that I'm not giving parentheses up here. If I pass parentheses, it is going to throw an error. Okay, you just have to pass the name. It will automatically consider that this is a function. This is for it for to be known before starting this project. So let's start coding our project. I have created a folder of naming notes. Open with code, notes, header, in place of header, div.logo, h1 logo, and use div.menu image menu.png. Let's save it and check it out. Basically, it does not look really fine. Let's style that by adding CSS style sheet. I'm going to the style sheet, follow link, create file here, universal selector, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing and border box. That's it. And here I will style.menu width like 50 pixels, and we have to give the image width 100%, so it may take full of the parent. Save it and save it, and here that looks fine. Error, display, flex, justify content, center, line items, center, sorry, justify content not center but space between, background color royal blue. That looks fine, but instead of, let's do it 30. Okay, color white, and padding block, it will give the padding from the top and bottom. Why just don't use 1 em and 3 em? Do this looks fine. Okay, we are coming up here and starting our main, and in main form action has none, input tag, and in input tag we will give an ID, so we could just select that later in JavaScript. Let's give its ID title and placeholder title, and text area, okay, name nothing, ID, ID text. We will decrease the number of rows. Good to go. And placeholder, Alt T, I'm using Alt T up here, so it could just wrap that. Placeholder, type your not. Good button. Here is a tip I'm going to give you. Add note, you can see this button, but if you click, this will reload that, right? If you want to prevent the reloading, you can just say type note the submit, just the button, so it will not reload that our page. You can say okay, the form is done. Let's style our form from the CSS, so you could see what is happening. Main width minimum, minimum 80% and 1200 pixel. So what this function will do, it will pick the minimum of those. If 1200 is less than 80% with respect to the screen, then it will pick 1200, and if the 80% is less than 1200 pixels, so it will pick 80%. Let's save it, and you can see margin auto. Now you will see the difference, it went just there. Main form display flags, justify content. Instead of flags, let's just do that grid, so all the items will be in the column direction. Okay, column direction. Gap 1 em, that looks fine. Form, sorry, padding block 2 em. Okay, form input put padding input, and also text area padding 0.5 em and font size 18 pixel, and change our font family to sans serif. Now it looks fine. Form button border why when I try to do type fast, I always make a mistake. Border none, and padding 0.5 and 0.5 em from the top bottom and 1 em from the left right. Background color royal blue, and color white, font weight bold. Okay, it's tied, it's good, it's looking fine, you can see. Now here we will make our h1 and we'll say your notes, our saved notes. Okay, that looks fine. Just add an hr, that looks fine, and give a little bit margin to the h1, margin bottom 1 em. Okay, now that looks great. And we have to create a div of cards up here, in which we'll just add section with class card. Okay, our all cards will be coming in here. Okay, let me show you, then you can, so you could get that easily. h2 head p lorem 10 button delete. As you can see here, if I remove this, then it will style that button too. Okay, border radius 3 pixels, so our button looks a bit roundy. Dot cards display flags wrap gap 0.5 em, and dot card. There's a difference. This is a card, this is a card. Background color royal blue, but royal blue will be on its padding 1 em. That's trying to get that's looking fine now, right? Padding block only from the top and bottom is 1 em. Okay, that looks fine. What we will do, we will decrease this size, because if we'll fix this the size of the card, because if the content in the card started increasing like 50, so what it will do, it will take the full width, and we don't want that. What we want to take it width almost 50%, you can say, width, or we can say flex grow 1 flex basis 200 pixels. If you add another card, if we add another card, what it will do, it will come up here. And if we add another card, what it will do, it will go to the bottom. This is what we really want. So if we add the card, they just get to the bottom, so they don't wrap on each other. I do understand. So this is it. As I told you, we are going to use local storage in up here. First of all, let's add a file, script source js or script.js. We'll follow this, but before going in on this file, I am going to give this button an ID. So on this click event, we'll get this button, add btn. Go to this and create file, and here it is created. Const add btn is equal to document dot get element by id, add btn dot add event listener. On click, what we will do, we will run a function add note. Always keep in mind you don't have to pass brackets here up here. If you just pass the brackets up here, it will always call without any event. So if you want to get the proper function on click, then you have to pass it without brackets and not like this. Function add note. It does not takes anything, but what it does, it basically takes the value from here and here. Okay, let's say const title equal to document dot get element by id, which we set it. What did we set? We set title and text area equal to document dot get element by id text. Since these both are selected, so we will pass these both items into the an object. But keep in mind we want to just select their values, not these elements. So what we have to do, we have to pass value up here, so we could get the value from here. Let's just console.log so we could see is it working fine or not. Text area, let's add something, and when I click on this, okay, we are getting this. We will pass these both values into an object. Let obj equal to title will be the title. Keep in mind that this title is not same as of this title, but this title is the same. And here we'll say not text area. Now we just have to pass this value to the local storage, so we could save that to the local storage and later get that from the local storage. To pass this, first of all we have to get the item from the local storage. To do that, I am going to make a function up here, and what that function will do, it will get the item which we saved in the local storage and parse that into the real object, because as I told you before, local storage can just save a string. So we have to convert that into object or array or number or anything which we just saved on the local storage, convert that back to our real thing, and then we can use that easily. So I am making a function get data if local storage dot get item notes is equal to null. Now you may get worried what I just wrote here. So as I told you before, that if you want to get anything from local storage, you have to write local storage dot get item. We are trying to search nodes. Why we are trying to search nodes? Because I will save the item as nodes in the local storage, and if that item is not getting founded first, let's see, you just came to the website and there is nothing saved, so it will get a null value back. So we are saying if there is nothing in the local storage, then return us a simply array. Okay, then just return, we don't need to create that variable, return us a simple array, else return us a json.parsed, the parsed array. We don't want to get the string, we want to get the parsed stuff. Okay, if it's an array, we want to get the array back, we don't want to get the like string of array. Okay, parse local storage dot get item, the same nodes. So what it will do, first of all, if we call this function, if there is nothing in the local storage, it will return us an empty array, and if there is something in the local storage, it will parse that and will return us that array. So let's just test what it is returning us. Inspect, and when we click on this, console okay, it is returning us an array. Wow, where this data is coming from? This is the data dummy data I just created while practicing this project. I'm clearing the local storage. Now if I again call this, it is returning us an array, but before it was returning a full array which we just saved. I hope you get the idea. So it is returning us an array if there is nothing. If there is something, it will returning us that array. Now we just have to utilize that array. How? We want to just push this item object into that array which we just get, right? But before doing that, what we will like to do, we will like to add a condition if title if title is not equal to empty and text area is not equal to empty. Because if there is empty value, don't save that. We don't want to save anything empty. We want to say if there is a value, then just save that. If it is nothing, then what you have to do, then push the value in the array we just get from here. But we have to save that array first. Let notes array equal to get data. It will save that array into this, and then we will just push notes array dot push what? Push object. Push this object into this, and then LocalStorage dot set item notes. Keep in mind you have the name of getting item and the setting item should be same. You may get confused here, you may make a mistake. The name which we are passing here, you can say key value, should be same. I am setting notes and I am getting the same thing, notes. Okay, notes JSON dot stringify. You have to use this function. What this function does, it convert the array into the string. It convert the array or number or anything into the string, and we will pass here our notes array. And after that, if we try to console the array from the local storage, we'll get the passed array too. Let's inspect that and console, clear that, add something Asad and something add node. As you can see, it's up here, it's added up here. If I add something else like Rove, actually me is a noob coder, add, it's added, its length is getting increased. You can see up here its length is getting increased because we are getting this data and passing that into the local storage. That's the thing we are doing. Like, you are a good student. Okay, as you can see, this is the length is getting increased. I hope you get the idea that we are getting from the value from here and pushing that value into the local storage. Now we just have to print that value up here. For that, we have to create a function print data const cards equal to document dot query selector. We are getting the cards div. Okay, we are getting this div cards div, and we will create a child with the name of section, and we will just append that dot for each. Since this is an array, so this function can be applied. Dot for each, this is a function which can be used to do some stuff with each element of an array. Where card is equal to document dot create element. What you should create, you should create a section and then add the class card dot class list dot add card. Why are we adding the class card? Because we just gave the style up here to the card, so when we will add the class card, it will take the style from here. That's why we are adding the card class. Card dot inner html is equal to h2. Here we will use the title from the item dot title, and then we have to create a paragraph, and we have to use the item dot note. Why I'm using note? Because I set it note from here. So basically it will return us the same array from the local storage in which we pushed the object. So here in the place of item we are basically getting this object, and we are printing title, and then we are printing the note in the place of paragraph, and then we are printing the button delete. And then what we will do, we will append that in the cards dot append child card. Delete this from here because we are creating this, we don't need this right now. Okay, let's just come up here and call the function print data, and here get data. This is a place where I am going to use the callbacks, and that's why I gave the intro in the beginning. But what's going to happen when I will call this is going up here, and since this is a function right now, so this is not an array. What we have to, we will say it as a callback function, and first of all we have to call this function, and then this function will run. Okay, let's add notes equal to callback, and now if I save that and come up here and try to do some stuff up here, ooh, boom, it's getting added, right? How it is getting added? Because I added this up here too. When I click on the add button, this function is getting called, and in the last I also called this, but I did not show you. I am also calling the same function print data and passing the get data function. So what it will do, it will go to the print data function, it will say a callback. Okay, first of all it will the callback will be called here, and since the callback is get data, and what does get data does, get data returns as an array, it will return the array. So now notes is an array, and we are putting a function notes dot for each and blah 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 blah. It's creating an element and then adding that element into the card. So what will be done here, basically, if I add another note 1 2 3 4 5 6, so it will make 3 notes, as you can see, right? And then I again do that, it will create 5 notes 6 notes, sorry. It's adding again and again and again. So what we will do here, we will check before doing appending the childs into the cards. We will first make the cards empty. Cards dot inner html is equal to empty. Okay, now you can see the 6 cards are gone. If I just remove this and save and add anything, 6 cards, oh 7, they become 7. If I again add, more and more cards are getting created. We don't want that. First of all, we'll empty this array section, and then we will get that data from the local storage and then print to this tab. Now there is only one functionality remaining which we have to add. We have to add delete functionality. It takes an ID. and from where that id would be coming. Basically we will while using callback for each, what we can do, we can also pass index. Okay, so we will use this index into the button and set its id equal to that index that is coming from the element, the same element which is getting created. If it's first element, the id will be 1. If it's second element, the id will be 2. Now we will add a function on click. Okay, on click, call this function. What? Always use double quotes. If you use single quotes, it's not going to work. I'm telling you that in advance. Okay, you cannot use single quotes in HTML. Delete data and pass this dot id. What is this? This is referring to this element, and we are passing this dot id. So this id will be passed up here, and we will get that id up here and delete the same element of whose id is passed. So here we have to first of all get the array, nodes array. Let nodes array equal to get data. We just have to call the get data and it will return us an array. This is a benefit of making functions. Get data, and what we will do, nodes array dot splice. This is a method of the array which takes 2 parameters. You can see here hint start number, from where you want to delete that array. Since we are getting the id, or you can say the index from up, so we will do pass the id, and then we have to pass the number of count. How much elements we do want to delete? Only one element. Now since that element is deleted, we just have to push that to the local storage. Let's push that array local storage dot set item. What? Nodes. Again nodes, always nodes. Okay, nodes json dot stringify what and to do nodes array. Also have to say print data, and here we have to pass a get data function. Now we are good to go, I think so. Is a noob. Add node, it's added. Delete node, it's deleted. Boom, 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 boom. It's good. Add node, it's added. Asad is a student. No, he is not. Just add that, it's getting added up here, and when you delete that, it's deleting the same nodes. But you can see this is not getting empty when we add the node. It's not getting empty, it's again adding the same data. We don't want that. So what we will add in the add node function, in the add node, where is add node, we will reset the form. So for doing that, we have to get the form first. Let's document dot get, instead of get, query selector form. It will select the first form of the document, and since we are using only one form, we don't have to worry about it. Good. And when you add anything, 1 2 3 4 5, add node, it's adding, it's deleting. I hope you like the project. You can even edit the CSS with your choice. If you want to add something, like you can give margin padding, it's upon you. I just wanted to make you learn that how local storage works and how we can basically store the data and get the data and delete the data, and you can say a simple CRUD operation: create, read, update, delete. This is called a CRUD operation. So we just made a simple CRUD operation, and this is the same way you will be doing while using databases. And instead of a local storage, there will be a database, and you will deal with that in the backend. There is nothing new. If you just do this project, you will get the basics of the CRUD operation. Because when I went to the software house, I just had made this project. Okay, I have practiced this project, but when they asked me, have you done CRUD, I said no. and then they showed me what is the CRUD, and then I was shocked that I knew that by doing this project. This is simple. Only you use, instead of local storage, you use database. That's it. I hope you like the project, and that's it for the video. I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.